Hi. Okay, more about the heart. It's been so fun over the last few weeks, just like diving into the heart. So, boundaries. In order to live life from our heart, we really do. It's so important that we have boundaries because if we don't have boundaries, then naturally what's going to happen is we're going to have to build up armor and contraction and pull inward in order to protect ourselves from all of the amount of energies in the universe. There is a lot of energies going on in the universe. So, in order for our heart to stay open and malleable and permeable and open to life and open to experiences in a way that feels good and is life enhancing and is creative, we need to have a really clear, permeable, alive boundary. And for me, I've been on such a journey of this because I think for lots of heart-centered people, what has happened or the experience has been is that you're really heart open, but then you're not really sure how to take care of your heart in that. And that can mean that we are just end up full of other people's energy and full of things that are helpful and not helpful. And I know for me, it's been this whole process of unpacking all the stuff that I ended up absorbing in my heart. And this is like, empath, that's part of what's happening. And the sad thing is that oftentimes then the heart open person just ends up closing their heart because we get overwhelmed. The nervous system says that's too much. And so what we want to do is we want to bring in a really healthy, alive boundary. And it sounds so simple, and in so many ways it is so simple, except that for lots of us, we got the message that having a boundary, having our own energy that we vibrate out, having a yes and a no was not okay. And so then there's all this fear about this thing that's really healthy and really connective and really alive. So I've been really enjoying doing this process with clients, just like almost like imagining, those goddesses with the many arms or the octopus. If you want to think of yourself like having these many arms or like tentacles, it's like we have this energy that is our own energy that we shine out. It's our own vibration. So first, that is the best way to have a boundary because your vibration then can just clear things. So it's like really allowing, when we have a boundary, we allow our energy to fill the space. So just for a second, maybe seeing if you can do that with your energy. And just, it's like letting you just pour into the space. And in a way where it's like you're really clear, like this is my space and this is what I'm filling. This is me. And then that naturally will start to weed out things that aren't a part of you. And then the next level is consciously getting curious as things come to the edge of my boundary, feeling into, do I want that in or do I not? And here's the key, okay? When we say no, it does not mean that we don't have empathy. And I think empaths struggle with this. I can witness something outside of my boundary. I can feel for it, but I'm not deciding to let it come in and become me. And the key to this is if I feel it out there, if I witness it out there, I'm actually better able to feel empathy, to feel love, and to see how it is that I want to meet that, than if it's this thing is just like inside me. Because then there's like defenses and I don't know what to do with it. So a really good example of that is something like social justice issues that are huge. And so we can let in all those social justice issues and we're just like overwhelmed with all these feelings. Or we can hold it as far out from our boundary as we need and look at it and be curious and get curious about what parts am I ready to relate with. And so it doesn't mean that we're choosing not to relate. It means that we're choosing how we relate. The other piece is like getting clear about what you will never allow in and you don't want to engage with. An example is people's judgments. Again, though, this is what's fascinating about boundaries is when we have a wall, we're just like, no, and we're just not acknowledging it. But when we have a boundary, what we're able to do is we are able to be like, okay, judgment's coming in. I say no and I'm holding it out there, but yet I'm still going to let myself take in this person and see, they're struggling. They're feeling angry. I'm not feeling it here, but I can still take them in over there. And this is where boundary starts to allow relationship and starts to allow us to differentiate between what's ours and other people's. Whereas with a wall, we're not relating. It's just a hard stop, and we're not really being curious about what's on the other side. And then the best parts of boundaries is we get to decide what we allow in, but in a way, it's still the same thing. Like if somebody gives us a positive feedback, we can allow that in and we can just like embrace it and be like, oh, that feels so good. And on some level, it's also a reflection of that person. And so this is where when we slow things down and we choose to allow something in, there's more of an acknowledgement of like, oh, this is from so-and-so. And this is also a reflection of them. And I get to like revel in it and be grateful for them. Whereas when we don't have a boundary, things are kind of just flying at us and we're not consciously relating with it. So boundary also gives us space to consciously relate. So I just wanted to share a bit about boundaries because I think when we're talking about gathering together, like in Collective Hearts 3.5, to explore the heart, it's important that we talk about boundaries because they're one and the same. It's like being in our heart means that we are vibrating out our vibration and we are consciously relating with what we're relating with in a safe way. So this is something we also explore in the Collective Heart field. How do we be open with a boundary, vulnerable with strength? It's all in the same. Thanks for listening. And if you want more information about Collective Hearts 3.5, you can look on my page.